All right, guys, how's it going? Just thought I'd do something a little different today. Do a little bit of kind of live discussion with you about 10 things to check before you're ready to air. I mean, I don't know about you, but have you ever been embarrassed by anything that's gone to air from your editing project that wasn't quite ready for prime time? So we're going to get into that a little bit today. Feel free to drop a comment below with your questions, comments, ideas on things that you check on the regular. And yeah, so I've got a project here that I can dive into a little bit. You can see, so we can kind of do a little practical things that I check for on an edit. And so yeah, let's see if anybody's catching up here. And yeah, so one of the things that I like to do is you've got to make sure that obviously you know your specs from the very beginning when you're doing a project. Like, you really have to start with the end in mind. You know, what's the audience? What's the delivery mechanism? Is it going to be theatrical? Is it going to be an iPhone? So, of course, you've gotten all that stuff out of the way, and now you know, like, okay, what are the delivery specs that are needed to deliver to all those different deliverables. So, man, anybody know what QC is? Quality control. I know it's kind of obvious, but that is something that that's kind of number one on my list. Is you've got to, like, if you've finished your project, you've gone through this whole thing, worked weeks and weeks and weeks, and you've been many sleepless nights and wondering, when is this project ever going to end? So you've gotten to the point where, okay, you think it's done, you've gotten approval, you've gotten the second approval, the third approval, and hopefully the final approval. You know, anyone identify with the copy version 03.27 file name? Been there, done that many times. But some of the things what I'll do is just go through, you've got to basically watch it from beginning to end. I mean, it just sounds like really basic, but yes, you can. The first thing I'll do is I'll skip through the project. So, like in this case, I'll turn on, let's see here, let's go full screen. I'll turn on all my tracks, and if you'd hold down Shift Option, you can turn them all on in one fell swoop. Do that with audio, video. So I'll turn on all the tracks, and that way I can just quickly use the cursor down button and up button. So I'll start at the beginning. I'll just go through, and it'll go to every edit that is selected in the tracks. So, but if I'm looking, like, maybe I'm just selecting, or maybe I'm just QCing one aspect of it, say it's just audio. So I'll turn off all video, and I'll just go through that and just kind of snap through it. I'll zoom in a little bit. I can check, oh man, are these supposed to have some quick audio fades? That kind of thing. You can check all that. You can see I've added some there. Sometimes you'll want to listen to it, obviously, like the next step, but the first thing I do, I'll just go through and do a visual check, see if something is like glaring like this. Looks like that could be a problem because the waveform edit's like cut down the middle, but probably it was not a problem because of the way it sounded.
In your nose and in your mouth.
These chemicals are in your couches, they're in your...
So yeah, I could have added a crossfade there. So I'll go through that on the tracks, and then I'll do it on video. So maybe go up here, and I'll just look, make sure there's no like visible gaps that don't need to be there. I don't think this is, well, this is full video master, but I think this is not the final. What I'll usually do is I'll collapse a lot of these tracks down to the individual timelines, or individual tracks rather. So like this layer here, I'll try to flatten all the B-roll down on top of it. But sometimes I like, if I know that I'm going to go back and just do a lot more changes, I'll just leave V1 intact with just the interview, and the B-roll is on track 2. Anyway, so I'll go through, check all that, and then of course go to the beginning and just play it all the way through. Nothing beats just playing it all the way through and watch it. Don't take your eyes off it. Get your coffee, watch it, and then send it over to at least 2 or 3 other people. Have them QC it, and maybe you're at a station or a network where they have a whole QC system in place, where they look at for certain things like dropouts and glitches and audio pops. But in general, just watch it through. It's really worth it. It sounds so obvious, but one of the things too that I try to do too is at some point in the project, if I've done the color grade myself, I'll make sure I open the scopes, the video scopes, and look at it through with the scopes on. So let's see here. So I'll check all the video levels, make sure everything's legal. This is more legal levels more so than aesthetic, because I've already kind of done all that, I think, at this point. The other thing is, I kind of alluded to before, was just checking the audio edits, making sure they're clean, listening for pops, watching for video flash frames. Another thing is, obviously make sure your audio is mixed from beginning to end. And one of the things I like to do is mix it, listen to in your speakers if you've got an edit suite with speakers or in headphones. But it's really better to listen on speakers, so you hear it in a room with acoustics, and then put it on a MP4 and put it on your phone, go out to your car and listen to it in your car. Listen to it on those speakers. And then on your phone, listen to it on those built-in speakers. Listen to it on an iPad. Listen to it with your earbuds. So just make sure through all those different outputs that you can hear everything. Everything's intelligible. Everything is understandable. And then the mix with music and sound effects is where you want it to be. So, yeah. All right, so let's see. Is your music licensed? Make sure that if you're using royalty-free music, make sure you're using the licensed version and not the watermarked version where it says, musicbed.com or whatever. That'll burn you. Anybody done that here? That's kind of embarrassing and also not what you want to do. Same thing with stock images. Make sure all your stock images are licensed, and go through. One of the things I like is using Adobe stock because of how easy it is to license the stock. Once if you go in and you add a shot, let's see, I don't think I have any stock in this project. But let's say this was a stock shot, and it was the low-res downloadable preview that had the watermark on it that said Adobe stock on it. You can just right-click on it, and then making sure you can see my screen. Okay, and you can go to, where is that? License. Does anyone else see it? It's in here somewhere. Oh yeah, right there. It's grayed out because it's not a stock shot. But anyway, it'll allow you to license it right there. And I believe you can do it from the sequence level. there was another. Anyway, but make sure that's all licensed. But it is really convenient. And once you just right click on it, and then it purchases. You use your credits or whatever, and then it's downloads the full res and replaces it right there in the timeline. Now, one thing you need to check though is the scaling. Sometimes it scales it, up because the image will be larger rather because it's already zoomed in because the low res is usually really small. So something to check there. No missing footage or extra black space. One of the things too, you can, we were talking about checking for gaps and stuff like that, but there is a function that says go to gap. So you can go to the gap and next in sequence, previous, that kind of thing. I don't really use that. I usually just do a visual and watch it all the way through. Let's see. So what else have we got here? Oh, spelling and verified numbers, like phone numbers and URLs. I mean, that's something that's, I've been in some places where that really bit us, not checking the spelling. I used to help a friend of mine go in and check spelling on certain projects that were, he would call me up and say, hey, can you come over and do a quick spell check? Not that I'm a great speller, but I'm a pretty good speller, and it's just always good to have another set of eyes on it. And sometimes, anyway, just don't let those things slip through the cracks. And also verify if there's a phone number on there, call the number yourself. Like, don't trust that the graphics department put in the right phone number, 1-800, whatever. Call the number and make sure it is actually what it's supposed to be. Trust me. Same thing on URLs. I mean, what I try to do is copy paste all that information from, if there's a script or a rundown or the graphics department gave it to us or whoever it was, or from the actual website from Safari or Chrome, I'll just copy and paste it directly from there, and then delete the HTTP, that kind of stuff. But copy paste it and verify it, make sure all that stuff, because really it's at that point you're the editor, so it comes down to, okay, yeah, these things should have been checked, but you're kind of one of the last gatekeepers of this project, so it really comes down to your responsibility to make sure that happens. And that's why, going back to one, QC it with at least 2 or 3 other people all the way through, and they should be doing the same thing. So have you backed up your project? At least 3 places. One of the mantras we used to say was, it's not backed up unless you have 3 copies of it, not 2, and not just on your USB drive or whatever. Make sure it's in a reliable place. The project file itself, and of course the media, but more so the project file, because that's so easy to duplicate and just throw it on a copy of it on Dropbox, on another drive. Don't make the copy on the same physical hard drive or physical SSD, but make it on another computer and then put it in the cloud, or even put it on another drive that's at home, like depending on how important this project is and how far you are in it. So back it up. And then your delivery specs, kind of back to what we talked about earlier, but make sure, check your resolution, your frame rate. Is it 1920 by 1080, 2997? If you're doing broadcast, you really you need to do 2997 if it's 1080. And you can't do broadcast in 2398 or 24, or even worse. That's great for web, theatrical, phone, all that. But I should talk about another thing on that with mixed frame rates. That seems to be a kind of a common topic that comes up. Like, how do you mix 24 frames? Anybody in a 2997 timeline? Or 5994, can you put 2997 footage in a 24p timeline? No. So those are the things, but there's ways of doing that correctly. So I'll talk about that in a future live. So check your codec. What's your delivery codec? Are you delivering in ProRes, MP4? Um, some of the other codecs that are required for broadcast are a little bit are different. Also check your loudness levels. If you didn't have somebody that actually did the audio mix that had, checking your LUFs, or, you can use that in Premiere. Let's see, what I'll do is open up the audio track mixer. I've got a template I usually use. That's what I'll usually start out projects as a template that has all this pre-populated. It's kind of a side note here. So I'll have all the dialogue tracks going to this dialogue submaster, and then I'll have a compressor on there, EQ, high pass filter, 70 hertz, just kind of get rid of any room rumble, that kind of stuff. But back to the loudness meter, I'll put that at the very end, and you can see you can set it up for YouTube, so it's minus 14, and reset this, play it all the way through, and look at your integrated. Make sure that's around minus 14 or so, and let's see what's minus 14. And then broadcast is different, cinema is different. But anyway, check those. That's one of your last things. Let's see here. Oh, there's another really kind of... This is another one that can really bite you, is check the size of your frames. Make sure it's filling the whole raster of your frame. Raster's not really a term we use much anymore, but that basically just means the full every pixel in your TV. But which this blocks the raster, like the bezel blocks the edges of it, which you don't. But on a computer screen, you see every pixel over the edge. Anyway, check that. Real quick way of checking or making it fill it is just to go to. I have it mapped to my Stream Deck, so I even forget where the shortcuts are. So I go to Premiere, set frame. So set frame to size. And you can also, this is kind of a cool little, let's go to preferences. And go to, I put this in one of my reels. This is kind of a cool little thing I do, or thing you can do, is go to media and default media scale. Go to set to frame size. So if you have a 4K timeline, if you have HD footage that you're using, or vice versa, then it'll automatically just fill the frame instead of it being instead of that being a let's see, zoom out here. Oops, wrong track there. Let's go zoom that out. So instead of something like that, if it was HD footage in a 4K timeline, if you have that set in your preferences, it'll automatically scale it up. I had zoomed in on that shot. So okay, so what else we got? I think that pretty much covers it. Let's see, somebody just said he can't find me on Facebook. Let's check. Let's see. Let's see if anybody's watching. Zoe, I see you there. Hey, Mike, just go to my Facebook profile. Let me text him. Go to my Facebook profile and you should see it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so, but I also want to just kind of talk to you about, I've got some things in the works, some like a master class and some new courses that I'm going to try to do them live, and want to invite you to be a part of that. So I want you to, if you're interested, just go to, let's see here, I've got my website thing here. Okay, so I got a little ticker there. Go to dansfx.tv/courses, and you can sign up. You can get a free PDF also of tools I use. So if you're interested in kind of what gear and software I use, that's all there, free. And then I'll just keep you informed of when I launch some of the projects going. I've got some pretty exciting things I'm really excited about, to kind of bring editors together in a community, do some group coaching, also some private coaching. All that is available as well. And let me know what's interesting to you as far as how I can help you as a video editor. Whether it's learning stuff about the craft itself. Yeah, I didn't really say much about who I am, but I've been editing for about 35 years, and even longer than that if you count when I started editing Super 8 film. So kind of gone through all the different methods of editing since the 80s. And so I'd love to help you now, and kind of what the new emerging stuff's happening. It's really exciting. I think there's no better time to be alive, really, to be creating content, and really content that matters. And I'm a Christian, so I'm like, to me, I see this as a kingdom thing, and doing it for the gospel. And so I want to help you, whether or not you're a Christian, that's fine. But hey, come along with the journey with me, and love to help you. Let me know. I've got a Facebook group too. I'm gonna to launch, and some other ideas in the works. Let me see if there's anything else that I didn't talk about here. Oh, you can see I've got this text edit here. Just a little fun thing here. So you'll notice, I don't know, anybody else using text editing in Premiere? In the beta, you can actually use the you can do the kind of like Descript has, where you can locate all the filler clips and then automatically delete them, or delete them with one keystroke. That's in the beta, but that's not in the, this is version 24. But you do have the text editing, which is awesome. So at this phase in the edit, what I use it for is just following along. It's just finding content quickly. So like if somebody, the producer, someone says, or the client says, hey, you know that thing where she said it's horrific, and she didn't give me a time code. I'm like, where? It's 25 minutes long. Where was that exactly? So I can just search for the word horrific. Boom. And it took me right to that. So
everything was good, and I said, oh, go, let me check, and it's horrific.
I just go day by day and see if I fall over dead sometime.
No, I had to ask.
So I mean, that is huge game changer to me. Just that one, it's not even necessarily how it's, I don't think necessarily designed to be used. I guess it is. It's one of the benefits of it. So you can just skip through and just look through words and just find stuff. And then you can do editing with it, but you can select and lift, extract, but I don't really want to do that right now. This is a copy, by the way. This is not the actual project. I copied it just for this. Speaking of backups, right? So don't be afraid. let's see what else we got here. Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. I appreciate it. I've got more of these in the works. And so, yeah. Hope you all having a great day and stay creative.